And I'm Jason.
And we are
growing with the Girtleys. Just wanted to say, guys, we appreciate all the support and everything, and we are before you today because we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. So 10 years ago, on this very day,
March 3rd,
I married the love of my life. And we have been through a lot. And now we're here. So, first off, babe, I just want to say marrying you was the best thing that has ever happened to me. And not only that, you made me a better man. So, thank you.
Well, thank you as well. You have made me a better woman. Happy anniversary to you. 10 years, you've made me a wonderful, proud mother of our two beautiful children. Mm-hmm. You've stretched me in ways as a woman, as a wife, that I never would have thought that we would have made it this far, without me killing you. But no, seriously. It's been a journey.
Yep.
But it's been good. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm so happy to be doing life with you. Mm-hmm. You my boo.
No, it has been a journey, and I will say that it had a lot of ups and downs.
Absolutely.
A lot of ups and downs, and
hills and valleys.
Years of plenty, years of lack, and what we basically came to an agreement, early in our marriage, that we said that divorce was not an option. Mm-hmm. And because we said that, we stood on that, and and also our foundation was the Lord.
Absolutely.
And because we were able to do that, it really strengthened the union and strengthened the longevity.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think that there are a few, things that made us kind of stick to it. We were, first of all, friends first. We were friends for a long time before. We were friendly. We were in like a friend group. Mm-hmm. And then we became friends. And then we started dating. You know what I mean? So I think that made a major difference. Choices that we made to keep ourselves until our, day of marriage. We fooled around, but we didn't fool around too much. I think that those things matter, and that's the only reason why I'm saying it. So, whoever's out there yet holding on, hold on. It matters. It makes a difference, because I just think that God honors that. I think that, like you said early on, when we were struggling in the midst of the junk and the pain and those low times, we made it, because I was the one who was always, well, why are we together? If we could, I was the one like always throwing around the D word, right? The divorce word. And not really like loosely. It wasn't like I was just every argument, but there were some blow ups where I was just like, you know what? For what? For why? But it wasn't until, the Lord reminded me that this covenant is not just, what I'm saying, between He and I. It's with God. The Bible talks about a threefold cord, is not easily broken. So this is not just something that we can do on our own. Pastor Winfield taught us that at a wedding. The moment you let go and you uninvite God into it is the moment it becomes problematic and strained. So, for me, I think that that's what it was. Always remembering to invite God into every situation. Mm-hmm. Remaining friendly when we would have those blow-ups, and not to hit below the belt, because we were early on.
Yep.
So, things like that. So if you're early on in your relationship, or if you're not, but you're just finding yourself at odds, Try to remember why you first fell in love. Try to remember how you saw that person and take it from there. Of course, invite the Lord into your relationship. And the sky is the limit.
No, I can agree with that, babe, because we did have a lot of intense discourses throughout the relationship. And honestly, we still every now and then have intense discourses.
But not as nearly as bad as they used to be.
Yeah, so
my sister would be embarrassed to be out with us. We will argue so much, y'all. Restaurants, airport, anyway.
But I feel like your sister probably get embarrassed.
That's
just
true.
Because I'm just a loud person, and I could be wearing yellow. Oh my God, why are you wearing yellow? So the thing is that, but I will say that some of the keys to kind of staying together is, and it's something I wish I could tell my younger self 10 years ago. Always voice how you feel.
Honestly.
And the problem, and
don't beat around the bush.
Right. It goes in a respectful way, because I will say that I carried a lot of stuff before I finally voiced it, and it would just be like, it would just build up, and then she'll basically say, "Babe, you got to hair out your plate." What do you mean? Ah! And it is all just this verbal regurgitation of everything that I felt. So I would tell everybody, be honest with your partner, your wife, or whoever you're with. Let them know how you feel, because the goal is that if only one person if only one person in a relationship is feeling good, that's the problem. And that will lead to definitely separation, resentment, and you don't definitely want that.
Because you not, excuse my voice, y'all, saying anything doesn't mean that we can't feel the disdain or whatever that thing is that you have for us. And so just because I might be loud and very, I emote very well, and I know how to, I know how to articulate my viewpoint in an argument, or point of view in an argument, and maybe you don't, or this was early on, and you thinking that being quiet is some type of solution. It isn't, because you're actually still treating me, how you feel. So if you have resentment, if you have, like I said, disdain or some type of problem with the way that I'm parenting, or the way that I talk to you, or the way that, whatever the issue is, I feel that. I feel that even if you're not saying anything, because you're rolling your eyes, body language, right? You're being aggressive. You're being dismissive. Oh, that's a big one. Being like short with me, or those types of things that are not necessarily words, but we still feel that. So we just got to watch those types of ways that we communicate as well to one another. Oh, all of that extra. It's just like, why? Just actually use your words, and like you said, in a respectful way. And that's on both parts. And vocalize what you want, what you desire, the things that you have a problem with, so on and so forth. There's so much divorce, even in the faith. We're seeing it across the board, and that I just don't understand how we're just coming to that conclusion. And it feels like it's loosely. It feels like it's just kind of like, and of course I don't know anybody's relationship, so I'm not here to judge it. But I as a Christian, I just don't think that is the answer. Obviously, if there's some type of abuse or something like that, that's a whole nother story. But if it's just like, we grew apart, and, it's just kind of like, let's just see where the world takes, like, what? I mean, I don't know. I don't agree with that. I just think that, like, I don't know. I'm just not, I just don't want that for us. And so I don't think it's the Lord's will for the believer to be so casual with divorce. So Anyway, we just wanted to hop on, encourage the hearts of people, kind of talk about how it was 10 years ago. We struggled financially, we struggled as parents, I feel like, and just all, you know, it was not to say that it was like horrible, because God has always been good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when we talk about, you know, we compare it to maybe, or not even compare it, but when we have conversations with other people and it's just like, you know, we ain't been through nothing time until now, you know.
Yeah,
it's a difference.
It really is kind of like night and day thing there, because I know 10 years ago we had basically I call it the urban fairy tale, right? So we got the house in February, got married in March, and then
got pregnant in July.
You know, so therefore
it was like boom, boom, boom.
Everything
boom, boom.
was very, very fast. And the funny thing is that, you know, one of the main things that I learned through that process is that the whole evolution thing. I was very under the impression that people will not change, that people will kind of remain who they are, no matter what stage they're in, no matter what's going on. Well, that was just my expectation. And what happened is that I found out that my wife did evolve. I mean,
and so did you.
Right. Well, I feel like I didn't evolve as much as she evolved, but you know, that's my own personal opinion. But the thing is that that evolution, that change was scary, because it became, you know, she changed, and you know, she evolved.
Everything changed.
She evolved
immediately.
Right, and I didn't, you know.
And that's true.
And
for you, it didn't.
Right, and certain things is I sometimes I feel like, who is this person? You know, who am I in a bed next to? You know, so one thing I will say is that when you are in a relationship, a long-term relationship, or whatever relationship is, expect evolution. You are going to change. Your partner, wife, or whoever is going to change as well. And you want to make sure that you're comfortable with those changes. And can you still handle those changes?
And that's exactly my point when I say bring the Lord into your relationship, because you may not be able to handle those changes, you know, but with the Lord's help, anything is possible. And so even though he's making it seem like he didn't change, we both changed. As a matter of fact, we should be changing. It's a good thing to grow and to change. You should not be the same person 10 years ago that you are today. You know, that means there's some form of immaturity there in the relationship. And
or
so,
retardation.
Yeah, I was going to say retardation, but I want to be sensitive with that word. So, you know, that is absolutely when you have to acknowledge him in all your ways and let him direct your path. Real talk, though. Like, you know, don't bring mama, don't bring sister, brother, cousin, auntie, friend. You know, that is not, you know, there are times when you can, you know, vent and you need to reach out to friends and family. You're just like, oh my God, he's getting on my nerves, or, you know, on some real shallow stuff. But to me, when things are heavy, you know, don't run to company, to friends and people around you a lot, because a lot of times they're just yes people anyway, and they're just going to appease your flesh. And sometimes God is trying to work something out of you. So you don't need a yes person in those moments. God, you know, evolution. You talk about evolution. God is trying to grow you up. And a lot of times he uses your partner to do that. You know, instead of us always running away from it, we have to sometimes just sit in that. You know, Iyanla, she says, sit in that. I'm going to let you sit in that. And, you know, sometimes it's best to just kind of live in that space of, am I the a-hole in this situation? Am I the jerk in this situation? You know, was I the person, you know, who was the guilty person? Did I offend him? You know, I was raised a certain way and I'm making him feel bad for not being raised that way. That's not fair to him. Like, sit in that. Grow up in that. You know, grow from that, I should say. So, absolutely. Change is a part of it, and sometimes you can't handle it on your own. That is why I think it's absolutely paramount that you reach out, seek wise counsel, pray, talk to your partner about it. I struggle with this situation. You're going to have to cut me some slack in this area because as I grow in this, you know, and that's tough. That's hard to admit because, like, for me, you know, I don't want him to see me as weak or less than, nor do I want to see him as weak or less than, because to me, he's my hero. He's my, you know, Superman, Batman, superhero. Like, that's who he is in my eyes. And so that's a difficult place to sometimes be when you don't see the strength in your partner, or you feel like your partner don't see that strength in you. Those are hard times. And so in those times, that's just one of those seasons where you just got to allow the Lord to come in and heal your heart, you know, mend the broken places and just fix it. Fix it, Jesus. That's what I think. I wish that I can give you guys some examples. Any examples of that?
Of what?
Well, I'll use this example real quick, and if you have one,
okay,
we'll add that too. Like for me, I grew up in a household where my mom stayed home with the children. My dad worked, my mom stayed home. So that's exactly how I thought it was going to be when I had my children. How about I didn't even like staying at home? There was a moment that I didn't even like staying at home. Okay?
And I tried to tell her this, like, babe, I really do think you need to go to work. And she looked at me, cussed me out, made me feel like I was the plague, like I owed her some money, and then bought some popcorn or something. You know, like, for real.
So, because I was a very nervous parent, I've said this before on this channel, I didn't have anyone under me. So I'm the baby of my family. So I was a very anxious, nervous parent. I had the postpartum thing going on. It was all of those, all the things. So with that, I just didn't see myself. So I was like split down the middle. A part of me wanted to run away, right, and not be around because I was just so out of my own. I didn't recognize who I was anymore, but then, you know, so meaning let me go back to work. Let me go back to what I know. And then a part of me was, but I can't leave my precious child.
Like the mom guilt.
Yeah, because of mommy guilt. So I'm not going, and then I didn't trust him I didn't trust anybody, you know, for me to leave. You know, we're in a place where we don't have, you know, much family out here. The family that we do have out here, they work too. Friends, they work. So it was very difficult early on. Things got better with the second child, but so that was an area where I had to kind of figure out, okay, you know, this may have been how I was raised, but what works for our family today? You know, so I had to sit in that. I had to really think about, you know, financially. Anyway, I just felt like I needed to figure it out and just really decide, okay, God, He the father of these children. I got to trust in Him. He ain't going to kill my babies.
And also...
And go to work. That's what I ended up doing.
And then,
after a year, but I was working.
Right, and in that aspect, it really did change that whole dynamic, because before it was very, she couldn't leave the house to go to work. And then once she started going to work, I couldn't keep her in the house. My baby called me in the car, but the one thing about it is, that's that evolution process. Like for me, was the fact is my issue was I didn't trust my wife a lot with how she spent money. And I grew up in in my household that I grew up, money was the end all be all. It determined how you felt, if you was happy, if you sad, where we went, how far we went. Are we going to the grocery store? Are we going to the corner store? It basically, that was how I lived my life. And the main thing, and I talked about this before, my evolution was actually trusting my wife in that area. You know what? I had, you know, and it was really hard for me even to admit that, because in my mind I felt like I was like the perfect husband. I could do no wrong, but I didn't want her to know that I really, babe, this is an area that scares me. This is an area that makes me very nervous. So when we were financially stressed, I felt it the most, and I felt like she saw what I felt, and she felt it too. And then I would take out my issues on her, and that was,
go ahead.
and that was really totally unfair, you know. So my evolution was the fact is that trusting my wife with the money, trusting that she has our best intentions in mind, and that also goes us as our evolution as a couple. You have to be able to be vulnerable with the person that you with. You got to be able to let your guard down, show your backside, and trust that they not going to expose you, stab you in the back, kick you when you down in that one. And that's something that we have not mastered all the way, but we're a lot better than we were 10 years ago in that area. But I will definitely say that was my evolution, being vulnerable with her and letting her know how I really felt about things, because I'm not always happy 100% of the time. Sometimes, you know, you want a Coke. Sometimes I want a Sprite, and I will just be honest, and I will make myself get a Coke to be consistent. And why am I doing this? Why am I putting up airs, especially with the woman I want to spend my whole life with?
And I don't want that. I mean, that's not something that I demanded or expected or would ever want from you. So I mean, it was a disservice to you and to me. I mean, that, you know, in that way. But I think it's hard just because too, when you think about again how you were raised, and you think that, remember, everybody thinks it, well, not everybody, but a lot of times when you're a kid, you don't see fault in your parents and your family. So you see success. You see that this formula works. So then, what are you talking about? This isn't the way that we're going to do it now that we're married. Like, so to your point, you saw success. I mean, and you know, that's just how it was in your household.
Yep.
And it was successful. You know, that wasn't necessarily how it was in my household. And yet my household was also successful. You know what I'm saying? So, how can then the two come together and be one? And so to me, my answer keeps going right back. The only way is to trust God, is to invite the Lord into your relationship. So, yeah.
And also, it's okay to be not okay. And that's the one thing that you have to give each other that room to be, you know what? I'm not happy with this. You know, I don't agree with what you're saying in a respectful way. And I'm not happy with this. How do we work this out? And I know in our experience with us, I try not to go to bed upset and resentful, nor do I try to, when we have our intense discourses, is not before I go to work.
Right.
Because it really kind of messes my whole mindset up the day. And then when she used to do her thing, if I was upset with her, I would wait till after the big event was over. So whatever thing she had going on, okay, I'm gonna talk to, and that was just our growth. I'm gonna bring this up when she comes back, because I need her.
That's a good point.
You know, I want to make sure that she's in her right mindset. I'm in my right mindset. If you're doing something important, going to work, church, or whatever it is you're doing, we want to make sure that we're in that mindset. And sometimes, you know, bringing the argument, finding the time to have the argument and that conversation is key.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's it. I mean, and that just comes with also just being kind to each other and show respect. You know, not being selfish. You know, especially like you said, going to church a lot of times and me having to, you know, lead worship or something like that. And then it's just like, now you want to get into, now you want to bring that up, you know, because especially, you know, I'm the last one to get dressed, right? So I got to get the kids dressed.
Yeah.
Then he gets dressed. And so it you know how it is sometimes. It's just like he's sitting around watching TV when it's a million things that he could be doing. And also, that annoys, right?
Yes.
That'll frustrate.
Yes.
That's real though. That frustrates you because it's just like, now you see, I just made breakfast. I'm now trying to straighten up downstairs in the, you know, the kitchen area. Yeah. Meanwhile, the kids both need to be dressed and ready to go to bed. I mean, to go to church. I also have to get dressed. You have to get dressed. I mean, like, and you think that the best thing that you should be doing right now is watching TV. Like, you can't think of nothing else that you could be doing to help out. And so, yes, those are the types of things that, you know, we had to kind of grow to. You know what? We have 2 different cars. I'm going to just send y'all with y'all father. Y'all get on and get out. And then I got dressed. And that's how it works, honestly, to this day. The days that I get to go to church, because I don't get to go every Sunday, but I get to go on first Sunday. So the days that I get to go to church, that's pretty much how it still is to this day. And not that I'm in, you know, I'm not really in a leadership role at all anymore, you know, but at the same time, I still, for me, have to get myself ready. Because we still are, you know, in ministry. So we still have to kind of like, all right, let me woo-saw for a moment. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, finding out those kind of when to do what that's a part of it. That's a good point, babe.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the navigation and the growth. But I will tell you that if you guys can kind of, you know, this is what happened. You know, we would love to be interested with certain things and truths and things that you guys do in your relationship. But I know with the evolution of us, this is what's working. You know, learning how to be vulnerable, learning how to voicing what you really trying to say. You know, in a nice, respectful way. But because the thing is, the truth hurts, but the truth is out there. And once it's out of you, and you've spoken your truth, all of a sudden now we can kind of figure out what's really going on and how we can solve it. And that was also one of my fears. I didn't want her to really know how I really felt about things, because, you know, some of the stuff why are we doing this? Like, what's the point? Why are we doing this now? And that's just the evolution of me. And now I can voice how I'm feeling about things with her. Sometimes it's received well, sometimes it's not received well, but now that I've spoken it, it's out there, now we can deal with it. And I was quite surprised that my wife has great ideas on how to deal with some of these things. So that was another evolution of my part, knowing that
isn't that something?
My wife is my partner.
Your helper. Right. Isn't that what the Bible calls us, ladies? Your helpmeet.
And we talked about a helpmeet in the last video. What that was, but
isn't that interesting how you have the help that you need right beside you, and you don't trust that person? You don't get the help that you need because you haven't said, or you haven't trusted that person is capable of helping you.
Right. So like I said, it has been a 10-year journey, and you know, it's been a 10-year journey. We both learned. We both grown. We've had the ups, we've had the downs, but the one thing, we made a decision that, you know, we were not going to get divorced.
Right.
We were going to work it out and give it our best with the Lord's help.
Absolutely.
So hopefully the stuff that we've learned to stay married for 10 years, you guys can apply to what you're going through. Please put in the comments, what are some of the things that y'all went through? And what are some of the compromises and victories, and the compromises, the victories, and the systems you guys put in place to kind of deal with things to make the household run smoother.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little late in the day, so I think I'm a little low energy, but it's been a good day. We went out for lunch while the kids were at school, so yeah, happy anniversary, babe.
Happy anniversary, babe. You guys have a great day. Please like, subscribe, share.